Hey guys, it's Stephanie here. I'm so excited. It's spring here and I know that one of my favorite local nurseries, it has all of their beautiful spring flowers in, and they are so great to put into containers, and I'm dying to have some spring containers. I want to put it in front of my new greenhouse build. Check out that video if you're curious about what that looks like. But it's just going to be such an oasis and just a beautiful, fun way to see flowers as I'm growing seeds out in the front. And then it's also ideal because if the weather gets a little bit weird over the next month, which it always does, we will have a random snowstorm or it will get below 32 degrees, then I can just sneak these pots inside my greenhouse, keep them safe for the night, and then take them back out when it warms up. So let's hit up the local nursery. Gonna show you the different flowers that are great to put into pots and for spring and all those things, okay? Look at this cool purple and white striped one, so awesome. And then you've got yellow ones, absolutely breathtaking red ones. Okay, so I'm gonna go show you my favorite, but primroses are so beautiful. They have all sorts of varieties. Look at this. This is a new variety. This is the one I'm gonna plant. So I'm taking a bunch of these plants home and then I'm gonna put them in containers. I wish I could take all of them, but I can't. So let's look at these different varieties of primroses. These are such great plants for container plants, for your early spring containers once it gets a little bit past the hardy time, cold hardy time in frost states. But look at that white one. Okay, I'm in love with these ones. Holy cow, look at those ones. This is ridiculous. And then they have white ones, and then snapdragons. They're not in bloom yet, but those are fun to fill into a container. And then look at all of these violas, so many different varieties. So I can't not wait to go home and show you what I'm gonna do and plant all of my containers. Okay, look at this one. I'm gonna just put this in a separate pot all on its own because it's absolutely breathtaking. Look at that. All right, guys, I'm back from the nursery. As you can see, I went a little bit crazy here. I thought it would be really fun to show you some different colors. So if you're kind of like bold, I'm gonna kind of do a bright pop of orange here. If you're more of like which is my absolute favorite, is I like to call these wedding bells. My husband calls them the romance colors, but these are always my favorite. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, for 5 different pots, and then I'm gonna kind of put them together, show you how I put them together, show you some of these plants and flowers, and then I will stick them in front of my greenhouse. As you can see here, I have lots of different textures of pots. I have a wood here, I have some terracotta, a few white ones, and then this cool little metal one here. Different shapes, different sizes. For me, that gives it so much character, and it's just so much fun to have so much variety. I'm not saying these colors necessarily go together, but I just wanted to show you how creative you can get with spring containers, how fun they are. There's so many different colors. You don't have to limit yourself. I am actually starting to name my containers. That might be a little bit weird, but for me, it's just the vibe they give me. So I'm calling this one, my bigger one, the creamy and delicious one. Honestly, when I look at this, it makes me want vanilla ice cream. And no joke, I went and got McDonald's Oreo McFlurry after I started thinking about these. But for me, coming out here and seeing these colors is just really calming, especially if you've had a really stressful day. Life is stressful for all of us. And I know I can come out here and this is just immediately calming, don't you think? Look how relaxing and creamy these colors are. So all these flowers are a little bit frost tolerant. Ranunculus is one that I bought, and that can handle down about 28 degrees, but I'm gonna also just put them inside my greenhouse so they don't have to go through those extreme temperature changes. And then some of these are perennials, so I wanted to highlight this one real quick. Cream Ballerina Series Primrose. It's one of the new varieties, and isn't it so delicate? It has so many ruffly leaves in between each flower, but it's got that soft creamy yellow, which I lean towards for that soft, relaxing vibe. It's just beautiful. So I did come home with 3 of these, and I just thought these peachy violas just went so well with this creamy primrose. And then these are anemones. They are an annual anemone, so they like it 30 degrees or above, and I just love anemones. They're just so cottagey and they just flow so delicately, especially when it blows. There's a little breeze here, and it will just kind of flow with the wind. And so I thought this was gonna be really pretty together. And this year I have absolutely fallen in love with violas. It's just viola heaven to me everywhere I go because they have so many fun different colors. So right here I have this pink viola, it's called, let me look at the tag real quick. There's so many different, I don't have them all memorized, but this sorbet pink wing. And it is just cool because it has this little triangle on each leaf. I have bought lots of violas. These ones are awesome because they are actually kind of act like a perennial. They're cold tolerant, so they're great for containers. They are gonna die off when it gets really hot, but I just think this is awesome. It's a standalone. I'm just gonna put them all in here by themselves. Sometimes less is more. And then I've been highlighting the ranunculus, but look at that bright pink one and the orange. And I actually have one right here, and these are yellow. They're not quite as big, but as I fertilize them and get them going with a lot of nutrients, they'll get bigger and they'll start to really take off now that the temperatures are getting a little bit more warmer and more stable. In the past, I have really sucked at containers and hanging baskets, and I've learned so much. And the key to having successful hanging baskets and container plants, I'm gonna have a hanging basket video for the future, not right now, is just to make sure you keep them watered and fertilize. So actually some of these are perennials, so you can get creative. You can put perennials, you can put leafy sage. You really don't have to have rules when it comes to container planting. But this will be my spring one, and as soon as it gets hot, I'm gonna transplant my primroses to my flower beds. And then next year they'll come back in the ground. After a cold winter, they're hardy down to zone 4. And then I wanted to show you what I'm gonna do to fertilize. I spoke with an expert. There were so many opinions out there. She's a really reliable source, and she recommended using Fertilome, a liquid fertilizer and a slow release. You kind of want to do them both together. This has the same percentage of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, which really helps those plants get healthy and strong. And then the liquid one has 58% of phosphorus, and that is what you really want to get abundant blooms. If you have too much nitrogen, you're gonna have a lot of leafy growths and not enough blooms. So basically all I'm gonna do in a 16-inch pot, I'm just gonna put some of these granules, about 3 tablespoons, and then if it gets smaller, do about 1 tablespoon. This stuff is awesome. You don't have to replace it for 6 months, so once you do it, you're done. And then this is where it gets crazy. You want to fertilize with this liquid fertilizer every watering. And then as they start to get how you want them to look, then every other watering. So you can get pretty crazy, but then as it gets more established, if you want to do it less, you can do it less. Just make sure you do it weekly. And this is what I failed in the past. I didn't water enough and I didn't fertilize enough. They'll just get really abundant and have so many blooms. And this is cool too, because you can spray the leafy growth and that really produces a lot more blooms. So basically just read your labels in the back, follow the directions, and you will have success and happy results. Okay, so now let's put it together. So in this 16-inch pot, I have 8 plants. So 5 of the bigger ones, and then these violas, I'm gonna kind of wrap it around. This smaller one, I have 3 plants. I'm gonna add some violas. And so you can kind of stuff them. Don't stuff them too much because they are going to get bigger as you fertilize them, so you need to let them grow a little bit and spread. And then in about a month, these are going to be really nice and full and abundant. So let's get putting these together. I also wanted to add that I have some blue forget-me-nots. It's so pretty with that magenta pink. And then this is another variety of primrose. This is another variety of primrose. And then look how fun these are. These are like, they remind me of pom-poms. So if you were a cheerleader back in the day, these would be kind of fun to have. They'll take you back to your cheerleading days, but I wanted to tell you it's an English daisy, it's a perennial, and then as soon as I'm done with the spring container, I'll go find a spot in the ground. So it's kind of fun. I'm gonna use them, they're kind of multi-purpose. Okay, let's get putting them together, and then I'm gonna start laying them out in the front of my greenhouse, and then I'm just really gonna enjoy these blooms for the next month or 2, depending on how hot it gets. If it gets hot really fast, they might fizzle. If it stays a little bit cooler, who knows? It's unpredictable, but it's sure gonna be fun. Okay, so I'm gonna plant this one first. I am just gonna take these out. I kind of put them on here so you could just kind of see a little bit of a layout. It's a little bit crowded to try and dig them with all of them in there. If you want, you can kind of put these in first and put them about 1 to 3 inches below the surface. I'm gonna plant and then kind of sprinkle them around, dust them off if I need to. So I also wanted to add, if you have a big pot like this, it is such a waste to use a full bag of soil. Honestly, this would have taken that whole, oh, I also used potting mix, Miracle Grow potting soil. I forgot to tell you that. But I just put in some logs all the way here and filled it with some leaves, so I had to use half the soil. It's just, these annuals and these plants don't need an extensive depth for their roots because they're just not gonna get that deep. So don't waste your money and time on putting too much soil in there. All right, let's get all 5 of these pots planted. Okay, I got them all planted. It was so much fun. I told you I wasn't gonna come home with everything. I kind of lied. It looks like I did come home with everything, all the different colors. I did think it was gonna be a little bit crazy having such a variety of colors, but I'm kind of liking it. It's kind of a fun vibe here. They kind of give so much fun pop and variation in every single one. I just think they turned out beautifully. I'm really excited for this alyssum right here, this Easter bonnet alyssum. This one is just such an easy annual to grow, and this, as it gets bigger, is gonna fill in and it's gonna start spilling over. So this is gonna turn into such an elegant container. I love all the fun colors, like I said. I would recommend deadheading as they die, just to promote more blooms, get the most out of your container pots, and just make sure to water, let them dry out a little bit. We don't want to drown them, not too dry, and then water again, and just keep fertilizing. And then you will have such beautiful container pots. I can't wait to show you what these look like in a month or two. They're going to be so much more full. Like you can already see right here, these are already starting to produce numerous blooms. I cannot wait for this ranunculus to have, look, 4 big blossoms. Can you imagine what that's gonna look like? It's gonna be so full and beautiful. Look at how many petals are on this ranunculus. That is why I love these so much. They are so full of petals. And then when you open it, there's this little eye. I just think that's so much fun. And I think it's such a fun contrast with these pom-poms and these violas. And then, like I said, this ranunculus, look how many more buds are coming out. And then it's just gonna start. I'm so excited. This has been so much fun. Spring, I'm just so excited it's spring. It's felt like a long winter and it's finally here. I'm just gonna be in heaven over here for the next month or two as I'm growing my seeds and enjoying these container pots. So I hope you like this video. I'm actually really curious what colors you guys lean towards. What one was your favorite pot? I would love to know. Anyway. Okay, well, we'll see you in my next videos. Hit the notification bell if you want to see future videos. Subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and we will talk to you later. Have a wonderful day.